What is up, party people? You know, I always start this show off by showing love to those companies who help make this podcast possible. First is my friends over at BLUON. Guys, BLUON is a resource for every single tech out there, whether you need them or not. Just know that they're there when you need them, whether it is ordering parts, it's the manuals, it's the tech support, it's the AI tech support, which I don't think people realize how powerful that is to have that tool in your hand to be able to use it anytime. Also, the fact that it does Spanish. Remember, the more thorough you are in the questions that you ask, the better answer it's going to give you. So like I tell other people, don't walk up to it and say, hey, this gas furnace isn't working. It's not going to give you the answer. Make sure you're thorough in what you say to it, and it will provide you the answers that you need. As well, I think that what they do as far as with the parts and how they help the supply houses with giving them their database with the thousands of model numbers and manuals is really changing the industry as far as I'm concerned in a positive way. Does everybody get it right 100%? Nobody's perfect. But I think that BLUON is amazing, and what they have coming down the pipeline is going to be even better. So, guys, download the BLUON app. All right, have it in your arsenal. It's just another tool in the tool bag, and it's there when you need it. So, yeah, what are you waiting for? Go download the fucking BLUON app. Next is going to be my friends over at Yellow Jacket. Guys, I can't wait for everybody going to HR because there's a huge release that is coming out that I cannot tell anybody, even though that I wish that I could. Let's just say they have a brand new product that I think that Yellow Jacket is moving in the right direction. Guys, I always tell you, I'll never tell you where to spend your hard-earned money. I just like to offer options. That's all that I like to do. Yellow Jacket reminds me of my dad getting into this trade, my first gauges, analog. It takes me back to my roots, but I love that they're American made. I think they make quality products. I know they're not the jazziest sometimes, but I think they're well made and they have great warranties. So all I ask is, hey, if you're spending some of that hard-earned summer money that you made, or, you know, you got some money from Christmas and maybe some True Tech gift cards, and you want to go buy something, you can find Yellow Jacket on True Tech Tools. And I think that they make amazing products. And no matter what manifold you buy, you should have Yellow Jacket hoses hooked up to it. That's just a no-brainer. But yeah, if you want to go buy some Yellow Jacket stuff at True Tech Tools, remember to use the discount code Uncensored and save 8% on your order. All right, I'm doing 3. Sorry. Last one. Just because it's coming up, the award show, my good friend, Mr. Ben Poole, HVAC Tactical. We have the award show coming up soon, but I put it on here. I want you guys to remember, I don't know how long he's going to keep this. All right, all of the awesome merchandise, shirts, hats, sweatshirts. I'm wearing one of his sweatshirts now. All of Ben's stuff at HVAC Tactical is just awesome quality. I wear his stuff all the time. And remember that when he was on here, I don't know how long he's going to keep it. If you go to HVAC Tactical and you want to buy any merchandise, if you use the discount code HVAC Uncensored, no spaces, all together, HVAC Uncensored, you can save 20% off. All right, so if you're thinking about buying stuff, go do that. Ben didn't tell me when he was going to end it, but I can't imagine he's going to keep it on forever. I hope he does. But if you plan on getting something, go ahead and use that discount code HVAC Uncensored, no spaces, and save 20% off. All right? With that being said, man, let's get on this show. We got a good but serious show tonight. That's something we want to cover. And let's do the pledge and get on to it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil Cavey Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. I'm your host, Gil Cavey Jr. Here we are, another Wednesday night, another hump day, and another fucking great show. As always, come on now. Psych, just kidding. Another good show tonight, real fast. Apologies for last week. I did that Tuesday show, had full intentions of going Wednesday. We had flooding around here. The flooding actually happened Tuesday night, and we were fine, but the flooding caused a tree to fall. I ended up losing power, so that's why I could not podcast last Wednesday. So that's why there was nothing out. And through the rat race of figuring out what we're going to do, we had to stay at a hotel. I didn't even put anything out. So that was my fault. That's what happened last Wednesday. Now we got snow, so that's fun. AHR coming. Normally I get to go somewhere warmer, Atlanta, Vegas, Orlando. This year, Chicago. I'm actually going somewhere colder. What the fuck's going on here? But super excited. Anyway, guys, great show tonight, man. I'm excited to have my guest on for the first time. He's normally always in the chat with you guys. He's been a huge supporter of the show, and I really, really appreciate him. And I'm glad that me and him talked and able to have this episode because I do them every so often when we talk about mental health. But I'm glad that he's on here to talk about this with me. So without further ado, he's a Bills fan. Don't hold it against him. But welcome my good friend, Mr. Jason Johnson. What's up, buddy?
Hey, brother.
Yeah, man. So we got to talking off air, man, and I don't. All right, so I want to say this as far as what we're talking about tonight. So I guess real fast before we get into that, Jason, if some people don't know you for some reason, let people know who you are, my man.
The radio version or the real version?
Mix them together.
I'm a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, truth to be told, I'm just like a lot of the other people in the chat, and that's why I'm always here. I mean, it's you, but it's also everyone else too. We have a good time, and that's the fun part about it. Is I'm nobody special, but I'm just another guy, just doing this what I love to do, and enjoy bullshit with all my buddies in the chat. Shout out to Steve and Brian and Scott, and I mean, I don't see any names right now, but I know that those are all the usuals. Adrian, all those guys. Yeah, I'm sure they are.
Yeah, and that's what's awesome about this, man. It's about building the community. Some of my best friends that I have now, I've made because of this podcast. They're guys that don't live in my state,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think is awesome about this. And like you said, it's people who do what you do, man, that they know the struggles you go through every day.
Mm-hmm.
The shit you deal with, like the customer stuff, or man, this fucking unit had this issue and I had to do this. And you remember a time that you had to do the same thing. And that's why it's cool because, it's kind of like, cops go to cop bars because they can talk to other cops about shit that, I was chasing this fucking suspect and this happened, and they can relate. And that's what this is. This is our getaway where people can relate to what we do every day. Because sometimes you talk to your buddies, they may be really good friends, but when you're like, man, I was on this fucking roof and I was in this unit and this fucking thing happened, they don't know what you're talking about. They're good friends, but they can't relate. They don't know what you're talking about. With that being said, man, I want to ask everybody in the chat a serious question. I want to have you yourself, and you don't have to say whether it's you. So you, someone or very close to you, have they dealt with addiction, mental health, or anybody that has lost their life to suicide? I don't need names or who. You don't got to give any of your personal. That's not what I'm asking. I just want to see how it's.
Please don't. Yeah, please don't give it out any information.
Yeah. I don't want any information.
Lay down.
So
Lay down.
Leon at all three, 2 or 3.
Lay down.
So You guys know, man, and I've always been honest with you that I dealt with addiction myself. I was the biggest piece of shit, and I thank God that none of you knew me back then because I'm not the same Gil that you know now. I never thought that I would have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. I really didn't. But through something changing in my life, I'm still sitting here today, living a good life, and I'm okay. I still suffer with mental health. It's something I've always suffered with my whole life. But thank God because of my religion, which I don't preach my religion. I'm just saying what has helped me. Between that and having really good people around me has what helped me clear my mind, because I get it that we're all men, and I don't see any women in here, but I get it as a man. It's, suck it the fuck up. You're fine. Deal with it. Nobody gives a fuck about your problems. And you know what? Most of that's all fucking true. There's a lot of times that men have to deal with shit. We don't have the luxury of, being a woman or a child or elderly or something like that. But it doesn't mean just push things down and never talk about them, because we are losing too many people to ridiculous reasons or things that could have been avoided because of our pride, man. Like, if it means me, somebody saying, oh, Gil sounds like a bitch or whatever, but I know it saves somebody else's life, you can call me a bitch all day, every day, twice on Sunday. I don't give a fuck, because I don't care what people think. We just have to start giving a fuck about other people, and don't be afraid to say things. This is why I say at the end of every podcast, man, like, if you work with somebody and you notice that this person's on time, like, you work with them for years, they're always on time, they're never late. And all of a sudden, for a week or two, you notice 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late, 15 minutes late. Why don't you ask them, hey, man, is everything all right? Are you good? And they're probably not going to tell you the first time. I'm fine, man. I'm fine. Everything's good. Okay. But then the fourth time you ask, then they might say something, hey, man, my wife cheated on me, or I found this, or I found that. And then next thing you know, somebody's going to have a conversation with you that could be life-changing. That's my point, that I don't want as a man, I don't want you to think by sharing your feelings or getting something off your chest makes you any less of a man. All right? So just something. We got doggies.
All right.
But I didn't bring you on to hear me talk, man. Please feel free to chime in on any opinion.
No. Please, honestly, I enjoy listening to what you have to say. And I'm glad we are talking about that, because honestly, up until about last week, I was one of those. I was more inclined to be like, fuck it, just rub some dirt on it. Let's get on with it, like, not deal with the problem and kind of just pitch it in the back of the mind, just stuff it in the closet, that eventually gets overfilled, and it's not normally a good thing once those doors come off that closet and all the shit comes flying out,
Yeah, it's, and what happens is guys, and it's not to, and maybe all of you were fine, but just think about the big picture with people that you get to talk to or you interact with on a daily basis. And to be honest, a lot of times the people who are having the biggest issues are the ones that you don't think are. Trust me, when I was at my worst, it was easy to put a smiley face on. It was easy to put that mask on and make everybody think that I was okay, that everything was all right, until it wasn't all right. Until you have to start dealing with things, or you look yourself in the mirror and you can't because you don't like what you see. So I like to have this conversation because, especially with the world today, man, we all got to go through shit, whether it's financial troubles, women trouble, men trouble, whatever floats your boat, just saying. Whatever it may be. Maybe it's work. You're not getting enough hours. You're worried how you're going to pay bills. And, the stress of life gets to people. Just know that whatever those stresses are, none of them are worth taking your life, okay? At some point during the show, I will put up the suicide prevention hotline to whoever needs it. So there's also something that I tried to work out a sponsorship, but I still talking to them, but the fact that they're so corporate, it's just hard. but I do respect what they do. It's oh, now I'm gonna forget their goddamn name. Shit, it's an online service for therapy. Now I'm gonna have to find it because I'm having a brain fart and I can't remember it.
You suffer from CRS as well?
Yeah. Fuck. Um, damn that! I can't believe that I can't think. BetterHelp. Thank you, Freon Leon. Yes, BetterHelp. That's exactly what I was gonna say. BetterHelp is an awesome, thing that you can do. You can call their number and you can talk to whoever you have to talk to about whatever you need to talk about. And it's an awesome resource to have. I know people who have used it, and it's been very impactful to them. So just know that's there. We all go through shit, and and sometimes what may be a big deal to you may not be a big deal to other people, but just know that. Like I say, man, not to sound corny, but I'm always here to talk to whoever. Anybody who knows me knows that you can reach out to me, and as long as you're not some fucking weirdo, I give my cell phone number out and I'll respond to people, as quickly as I possibly can. Brian Sanders says this industry has saved my mental health. Funny enough. Well, good. That's good.
Just give it time.
Yeah. Freon Leon said I used for about 6 months. Well, I'm glad you saw the light, man. And I always tell this to people. Nobody wakes up one day and says, I want to be a drug addict. That's not how it works. I didn't wake up one day and was like, man, I want to be addicted to drugs. It's a series of bad choices that lead you down a road. And by the time you realize what happened, you're fucking hooked. Go ahead.
You know how I got off drugs was I finally realized one day I was like, I'm tired of being a piece of shit. That's to me, and I find most people that I know who have been addicts before, and thank God they've, been able to kick it. Most of them, it seems to be the resounding statement, it's like, one day I just realized I'm tired of being a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And you got to hate it to stay off of it. At least that's how it worked for me, where I was just, I had to think and kind of like beat it into my head that drugs were my enemy. And that was how I managed to do it. Everyone finds their own path in life, but the most important thing is, at me personally, I hope everyone finds that path, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
And sometimes you've got to hit that rock bottom in order to come back up, because that's where the damn secret door is to get the hell out. It's at the bottom of the pit, not at the top.
Or sometimes your rock bottom has a trap door. I've been there before. Oh, just to clarify, Freon Leon said, no, he used BetterHelp for 6 months. He didn't use drugs for 6 months. My bad, bro. But yeah, no, that's, and when I got clean, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. Seeing, how my life was going, and the fact that I knew I had to be fake around people because I didn't want them to know the real me. I will never disrespect NA or NA, the 12-step program. I won't, because I've seen it help too many people. But it didn't work for me. I just being around people and hearing stories about when people used to get high just made me want to go get high. So I literally engulfed myself in my family and work, and I fell off the fucking earth. Only some people heard from me, and some of the times it was like, hey, just letting you know I'm good. Hope you're doing well. If you call, I won't answer. I was just checking in. Click. I didn't change my phone number. I had to be disciplined to not answer those phone calls. People are like, oh, I changed my number. That doesn't matter. A true addict, you put an addict in any city, major metropolitan city, they'll find what they want. Okay, that's how an addict mentality works. I got sick of paying God $60+ every day to feel normal, because that's what it got to when I was hooked on Oxycontins. I had to at least do one a day just to feel normal, and it got old. It got to a point where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. What kind of father am I? Thank God I still took care of. Only my oldest son was around, but when I was messed up, thank God he never knew that. But it sucked. And at the time, like I said, I never thought that I would still be sitting here today. I mean, I got friends tattooed all over me that aren't here anymore. And the fact that they're gone and I'm here, it still amazes me, you know, because I thought for sure I was going to be one of those people that I wasn't going to live to see 30.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 40 and I'm still here.
Right. Right there with you.
Yeah, it's, I thank God that I never stuck a needle in my arm because towards the end, Oxycontins you couldn't get. So, you start snorting heroin. And next thing you know, it's not going to feel the same. And then you put a needle in your arm. So I thank God that I got clean before that happened. Because a very good friend of mine, one of my best friends in the world, got himself clean. And this motherfucker, I wish he could come back to life so I could punch him in the face and hug him at the same time. He could have the most beautiful fucking girlfriend, but he'd always have a girl on the side. That's just was always him. And he went out hanging out with this girl who fucking shot dope and put a needle in his arm, and that was it. He's gone. So, somebody
Sad.
who, been clean for fucking 4 years. It's crazy. So it just drugs, anything that you want in life, an addiction will take it away from you. It doesn't make it easier because all the problems you had are still there. You're just not dealing with those problems. You're creating new ones. And then when you get clean, the guilt comes over you. All the shit that you did starts to hit you and you're like, fuck, that's why a lot of people, when they do get clean and all that guilt comes over them, they go back to getting high because they can't deal with all the shit they've done wrong. And you can plug and play alcohol, drug, whatever it may be, whatever your vice is irrelevant. I'm just saying oxys because that was mine. But even alcohol, if you can't do something without drinking, then that's a problem. You know what I mean? Have a couple of beers is one thing. But if it's mood altering, if it changes your mood in a negative way, it's a problem. Some people don't want to hear that, but it's true. If you can't do something without drinking or taking a drug, that's a problem. That's just the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, 100%. 100%. It's good. I mean, it's not a subject that people like to talk about, this kind of stuff, I mean, it's one of those keep it buried in the bag kind of thing. But I mean, at least for me, I found out a long time ago, like the way I work is if I keep it bottled up, man, when it comes out, it's just not a good thing. It's always been a bad situation. So I've learned to, at least over the years, like, okay, when something's a problem, stop right now. Like, what do I got to do for this problem? What do I got to do? It's
Yeah.
not, it'll never fix itself.
No, it won't. And all they are is a crutch.
Hmm.
It's a crutch that sadly you think's helping, and then all of a sudden that crutch is gonna fall out and you're fucked. I mean, you still gotta have to deal with everything. So, tool porn is the problem too, Brian. Brian said his tools are his addiction now. And that's and we all need a vice, man. And let's be honest, as a man, it's you want affection and you want respect. As a man, you know what I mean. You want a woman's affection, a woman's love, or what. I'm speaking to heterosexuals, okay? So if you're homosexual, whatever, okay? I'm just not gonna say men, right? I'm not gay bashing. If that's whatever floats your boat, I don't give a fuck. But yeah, like I tell my wife, like she's like, is it money? And money doesn't. I mean, I like seeing money in the bank. Like I like to be able to do things with my family, but money motivates me for my family, not for me personally. Because we were talking about it off air. Money will not buy happiness. If you can't be happy broke, you won't be happy with money. That's just the way that works. All right. But
I should talk about what happened last week then, because this is a perfect segue.
go ahead. You say whatever you want. I didn't know if you wanted to go in depth or say anything,
Well,
the floor is yours, buddy. You say whatever you
I
want.
mean, I'm again, I'm not, I don't want to go into details, but this is how this subject came up because uh, Steve O knows. He knows. He's the one of the few people that know, but I don't like making this kind of shit public. But last week when I was on a roof, 32nd floor of a high rise condominium complex, and I'm just working on an Aon unit. Nothing special, and it's funny is by doing the right thing is how all this happened is I have my micron gauge hooked around the side of the unit, but I was on the opposite side by the compressors. And I'm like, oh, I need to go check my microns. And I walk around the corner of this Aon unit and I see a guy up there. I don't know who he is. I don't know anything about him because his back is facing me. And, I'm kind of just looking at him for a second and I'm thinking, I mean, what happened is not what my original thought was. My original thought was, this punk, he snuck up here to sneak some pictures, because at the top of high-rise buildings are some great pictures, it really is.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at him, and I remember completely. I'm already forming this opinion in my head, and this guy is facing backwards to me, and I yelled out, I'm like, "Hey, can I help you?" Because it's a rooftop and it's a building, and I know that people aren't supposed to be up there. And I don't know if he heard me or not, but all of a sudden, I see this guy stick a foot up on the ledge, and I went into holy shit mode. And I started running over there as fast as I could. And this guy jumps off of the building right in front of me. I was about 15 feet away from him. And he swan dived right off the building, right in
32
front of me.
floors up.
32 floors up. I think the building's 347 feet to the roof.
Mm.
And the segue was he lived in a penthouse. And I looked up the cost of those. And as we were talking about, it's $1.8 to $3.7 million. And that guy jumped off the roof in front of me and said, I don't know what was going on, and I honestly don't want to speculate. And at this point, does it really matter?
No. Man lost his life. It
But
doesn't matter what his reason was.
yeah, and the main part that's been hitting me is it's really like I'm not emotionally, this is, I guess that's the manly part, the, suck it up, buttercup bullshit, It hasn't affected me emotionally, but it's really it got me to start thinking about a lot of things, not in concerns with death, but just in general, like mental health. Like I kind of did. I've been doing a self-evaluation of myself, and I'm kind of like, damn fool. As much as you think you got your shit together, you don't. Like it made me go. I think it's about high time I stop, trying to play the tough guy role and not talk about things. I think it's about high time I try the other way because so far what I've done, it doesn't seem to have worked.
And to be honest, something like that shakes you to your core, whether you realize it or not. Because, so what I had, this is probably about 16 years ago, when I was doing commercial work and I saw an electrician get sucked into a panel. He had PPE, but he apparently had a necklace around his neck. All I remember is we were up on a lift running pipes, and his helper was with him. He got sucked into the panel, and I give it to his helper. He thought quick on his feet. He grabbed the big broom that was sitting there and knocked him off. It seemed like he did it immediately. And the guy, I guess the guys are saying they can't hear me. I might have been too far away from the mic, to be honest with you. I just turned it up a little bit. And the guy kept saying, my wife's going to kill me. My wife's going to kill me. And they took him outside to smoke a cigarette. The guy smoked a cigarette, and he must have said, my wife's going to kill me fucking 50 fucking times. And Ambulance came, took that guy to the hospital. He died at the hospital. They said that his body was running on pure adrenaline. And that helper, granted, it wasn't his fault. And he reacted faster than I would have reacted. And that guy is fucked up. Like, he was, I don't know, I don't see him anymore, but he was fucked up thinking that, he should have done more, kind of had that survivor's guilt. And a bunch of us had talked to him and been like, dude, like you did everything possible. I mean, you literally reacted. Like, I can picture it in my head. How you said that, how you can picture it. Like, I can picture it in my head right now. And it was like thump. He grabbed the broom, and got him off. But I guess the damage was already done. And that's something that I'll never forget. If you notice at the end of the show, one of the analogies I always use about be safe out there is I always say, make sure the breaker's turned off. That's where that comes from. I get it from that story, and the whole make it home the same way you left kind of deal.
There was one thing that sticks out to me. I didn't tell it in my little spiel there, but by the time I was running, I was yelling, like very loudly at him. And right before he launched, he looked right over his shoulder like that at me. And that's the one thing I still see. That's the one thing I still see. I see his eyes.
Yeah.
Funny enough.
And to be honest, bro, like, I know we're in the middle of a podcast right now, but you may think it doesn't affect you, but it is. So you make sure that you talk to whoever you need to talk to about whatever you need to talk to. You know what I mean? Because of what you saw. That was no control of your own.
Let me ask you this, because I don't feel like I'm affected. I don't feel it. Honestly, I sleep good, haven't had any kind of nightmares or really anything. And I'll tell you, honestly, that kind of scares me a little bit. Like, why don't I feel affected by this?
Probably because you didn't know the person, and you're sad because somebody lost their life. But so it's not that you're not affected, but I mean, it's you called me to have the conversation, and we're here today. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
because I did. Yeah. Okay.
For whatever reason, I mean, you could have called me and we could have or talked to me and we could have bullshitted about other stuff, but we didn't. You know what I mean? And because of me and because of my religion, I think God works in mysterious ways. And sometimes, he puts things into your life or has you do things that you don't realize what he's doing. And like I said, I won't preach my religion on other people, but that's just how I feel about things. So. And Brian Sanders is right. Sometimes trauma can take time to manifest itself. So I hope that you're not affected, but if you are, we're all here. Just make sure that you talk about whatever you got to talk to because, whether you knew somebody or not, just imagine like you guys go to the gas station and you're going to buy a soda, pack of cigarettes, whatever your thing is. It's just you and the clerk. Somebody walks in and shoots the clerk in the head and runs out. You didn't know that person, but it's still going to traumatize you. You know what I mean? And it's going to do it. Everybody has a different way of doing it. So just that's what I'm saying. So just make sure if it's not bothering you, awesome. But if it's something you ever start to think about, just make sure you talk to somebody. That's all.
Well, I like that mentally now. I don't think that I'm a pussy for trying to seek help.
No.
Because I mean, I don't know. I mean, from when we talked before the show, I mean, your dad, my dad, both Vietnam vets. Like that wasn't their thing, Like
no, hell no.
You cannot do that kind of stuff. And as you said, my dad, neither one of them to this day would still talk about it. They don't talk about it.
No, they don't talk about the things they saw in Vietnam, watching their friends die. So story off of that, my dad lived in a street that it was a really, really long street, and a bunch of his friends all lived on that road. I mean, I'm talking this road's like 600 feet long. It's a big, probably longer than that. It's a big road. And 5 of them, my dad and 5 of his friends all went to the Marine Corps together. They all ended up going to Vietnam. My dad is the only one who made it back alive.
Mm.
So imagine you and all your high school buddies are like, hey man, fucking there's no work. Let's go in the service. Let's join the military. Oh, okay, let's do the Marine Corps. And then you come back from a tour and you realize out of all of your friends you went in with, you're the only one left standing. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
That hits hard. That hits hard.
Yeah. And like we were talking about when it comes to people, you know, in active service military or people that have served previously is, you know, how many of them are committing suicide? They say
22 a day.
Yep. It's sad. And that's why, you know, we cannot be afraid to talk about things, man. And if you go to one of your good friends and you're like, hey man, I need to talk to you, and you start opening up and they say, stop being a pussy, I question their friendship.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and maybe they might say that the first time joking around, but if you say, hey bro, like I'm serious, I need to talk to you about something serious, and they can't see that look on your face knowing that this is raw emotion, then once again, I question their friendship. That's why I love some of my friends that are around me, because they will call out my bullshit quick, fast, in a hurry. They won't, they're not going to tell me, they're not those yes men. That's not the kind of people I have that follow me or hang around with me. I want somebody to kick me in the balls and get it over with. Don't sugarcoat it. And that's how, you know, like I used to always make the analogy when I would coach youth sports, and now that I have to, you know, lead men and women, you know, running a company, is, you know, you have to know there's some kids you got to smack on the ass and there's some kids you got to pat on the head. Some people you yell at them, they're not going to take it. They're not going to do what you want them to do. Some people you got to lift them up. And it's the same concept when you're dealing with people every day. And the biggest thing about this message I want people to know is we're all broken a little bit. Okay. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's this perfect puzzle that's put together. Especially as you get older, pieces fall apart. Love lives change. Friends change. You know, so the puzzle's constantly being reorganized and reshuffled. Don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, and who gives a fuck what anybody else thinks about you as long as you get the help that you need? That's what I'm trying to say.
Amen.
Guys, I remember having those thoughts, and I'll be fucking raw. I'll be really, really raw with you guys. I had those thoughts that, you know, and just so you know, I had already been okay financially. You know, I don't have any issues when it comes to money. I can do whatever I want whenever the fuck I want to do it. And I don't say that to be conceited. I've busted my ass to get to that point. Money doesn't motivate me. It doesn't make me happy. I do that to make sure my family's taken care of. I could give a fuck less. But I would have goofy thoughts, you know, just I would be angry for no reason. All right. Like the smallest things would set me off. And my family didn't know, like, you know, my daughters would be like, why is daddy so mad? And my wife's like, I don't know. Then I'd come home and I had these two sweet little girls that want my attention, and I'm angry for some reason. Then I would start to feel guilty. Then you start having these thoughts like maybe your family is better off without you. That's the worst thought you can have. All right, please. That is the worst thought that you can have, especially when you can't control it. When you close your eyes and thoughts like that start coming through your mind, it's fucking dangerous. And I had those, and I don't know why they came, what they came from. Work was good. Me and my wife were good. Like, everything was good. So these thoughts coming out of nowhere scared the fuck out of me. But I got to be able to talk to people. Back when I was doing drugs, I tried to commit suicide. I tried to kill myself and failed. My parents' deck, they had a deck off the back of their house, and then there was another deck that went up that was around an above ground pool. And there was a big ass tree. I tied a rope around that tree branch to hang myself. And I made sure, like, just like a technician, I was making sure that this rope was good, that the plan was going to follow through. And when I put that around there, my feet should have been 5 feet off the ground. I put that noose around my neck. I jumped off my parents' pool deck and my feet touched the ground. I started crying. I laid there in the fucking backyard. And that is it embarrassing for me to say that? Yeah, it is. But it's the truth, and it 100% happened. But that moment changed my life, though. That's when I started thinking about a higher power, that I wasn't supposed to die that night. So I get raw and I tell people the truth about my addiction and about things like that in the hope that it's going to help somebody else. Not that it's like, oh, did you hear Gil's story? This isn't about me. This is about using my situations to hopefully help somebody else and save their life.
Amen.
Yeah, because it's a fucked up world that we live in, man. And the sad part is we work in a tough trade. You know, you can't be soft. You can't be a pussy and work in this fucking trade. I don't care if you do residential, commercial, industrial, whatever side it is. It's taxing on your mind, it's taxing on your body, and it's taxing on your fucking relationships, especially when you're starting out and you got to work 60, 70, 80 hours. You're never home. When you get home, you're fucking exhausted, but you still have to be a husband. You still have to be a father. You still have to be a friend. So it gets to be hard. And some people just, you know, they take the fucking easy way out, and it's, I'm going to booze up, or I'm going to stick a needle in my arm, or I'm going to stick this up my nose to try to get an escape. You can't escape it. You know, that's the sad, and trust me, I realize that, you know, all the problems I thought that I was escaping, guess what? As soon as I got clean, they were still there waiting for me. You know, they're like, hey,
Well,
you remember me?
you remember I told well, before we went on air, like when I told you my best friend, you know, he was Semper Fi, do or die. And then when those days ended, yeah, you could see the survivor guilt kicking in. And I got a call, and this sucked. This was October 6th, 2014. My wife's birthday is October 7th, 2014. You know, like her birthday's October 7th. So my best friend goes to the shooting range, and you know, since he was former Marines, they didn't really think nothing of it. Went inside there and said, "See you later."
Yeah, it's I was
And
gonna say, damn, did you marry a 10-year-old?
no, no,
No.
no, no.
Just
That's
kidding.
not it.
I know what you meant. No, man, and it's crazy. And people with the military life, you hear that shit. See you, rookie. I'll see you Sunday, my friend. I'll talk to you before then, but I'll see you Sunday. Resi are the bitches of the HVAC trade. You shut your mouth. I forgot more than you know, motherfucker. I love you. But yeah, it's, you know, and people don't realize, especially, you know, people that have been in the military a lot of times, especially during wartime, you're sending 18-year-old kids off who have never seen the world, and that's what they see, you know, death. And you know how it is when you come back, your friends who aren't military, the first question they ask you is, did you kill anybody? Like, the fuck do you think we're doing over there, man? Like, don't ask me stupid fucking questions like that. What's up, Will? Real fast, change of space, man. Change of space, just to say what's up to people that were in here. So obviously Rookie was in here. Mr. Reliable HVACR, Adrian is in here. Will Speed, I know Jimmy, HVAC teacher's in here. Steve, everything HVACR. Mr. Ryan, Hughesman HVAC. I guess that says Daft Mantis is in here. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, he said I'm boring. Apparently, that's cool though.
He said, "Can we give Will Speed a chance to speak on the live stream?" If one of you has a story that you want to come in and say, I am all for. So
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, if you want to come in and you got something to say, put it in the comments and put your email in the comments, and I will email you a link to enter the show right now. Okay. Mr. Sammy's in here. Sam Andrew, what's up, homie? Mr. C. Young, NR Outdoors. I know there was some at the top too. Brian Sanders. Did I say you, Brian? Brian was in here. Who else? Freon Leon was in here earlier. Want to make sure I'm trying to call. Comfort Medic was in here earlier. I don't know if he's still here. Trying to go back and see some of these. So, Just Work HVAC. What is up, homie? He was in here earlier. I think I got almost everybody going to the top. If I missed you, I apologize. If I see your name pop up, I will definitely call you out. Thank you guys for being here. Ah, there he is. Freon Leon said still here. Cool. He said Jason isn't boring. I was seeking attention.
Well, you got it.
Yeah, did you really want to come on, Will? I know, I guess that's Death Mantis. I guess I'm saying that wrong. What makes the grass grow, Gil? Blood. There you go. He said that a Marine told him that was his one of the chants they did. I don't know. I mean, I know it, but we never did that. Hasn't watching too many movies. Thank you, NR Outdoors. I appreciate that. I really do. So the biggest thing about this conversation is maybe you're okay, which that's awesome. I want each and every one of you to be okay, is to know the signs when somebody you love or you care about is not okay. A colleague you work with is not okay. To speak up. Sometimes having the balls to speak up and say something to somebody is huge, because nowadays we have the whole mentality is it's not my problem. Think about it. When I don't watch the news, but if you watch the news and the war in Ukraine and you see a bunch of people dying, you're like, man, that sucks, but it doesn't affect me. When you see a bombing happening somewhere else, or a shooter happens, but it's not close to you, you're sad, and then guess what? Well, it didn't affect me. That's people's mentality. Until one day it does affect you. So that's just... I always say, man, if you put positivity out into the world, it's what you're going to get back. I couldn't imagine waking up just being negative and being fucking pissed at the world every day. I just couldn't live my life that way. That's why when I had those thoughts, it was so hard for me, because that's not the kind of person. Anybody who knows me, I'm a happy-go-lucky. I want to joke around. I want to have fun. I wear my heart on my sleeve. If I tell somebody I'm going to do something, I fucking do it. I try to be a man of my word, kind of those old school values. But what do you say? Will Speed he said, I got some stories, but I'm full on making some cheese sauce right now. It's all good, man. Hey, just so you guys know, man, if any of you have any kind of stories, whether it's work related or something, you are more than welcome to come on this podcast. Some people think that you need to have a following or so many, subscribers or whatever, like followers. Like, that's not the case, man. I like having good conversation with people that are in the same trade that I'm in. So anybody who wants to do that, let me know. Oh, shut up, rookie.
Will's a solid dude. Like him and I, we don't talk all the time, but every once in a while we'll shoot the shit on the, through text or a phone call or whatever. But fucking shout out to him. He's a solid ass dude. I mean, and he's real. He's a real deal.
Nice. Good shit, Will.
So Steve-O. So Steve-O. Steve-O's a fucking good dude. We talk on a regular. He's helped me out so many times. That guy right there. He's very he's the man's man, because he just tries to hang out in the back, like, just, hey, I'm just me. I'm just a guy. But I've called him so many times to bounce something off him. And I'll tell you, I get the best advice from him, and it almost never has anything to do with HVAC.
Hey, sometimes it's just talking. I'm sorry, Brian Sanders said that I have a solid ass. Will said, thanks, buddy. Same to you. And then I guess that says Daft Mantis. So I think I'm reading it right. It says Will Speed is a fucking legend. And then Steve said, hey, thanks, man. You're a good dude. I appreciate you. So That's awesome, man. Sometimes people, you need to be built up. You know what I mean? That's why, like, when it comes to the, the podcast and stuff like that, like my kids and my oldest son and my wife will joke, like, Mr. Important Podcaster, look at him, blah, blah, blah. What's up, Derek? I never did this because I wanted any kind of fame. I mean, it's cool when I go to HR and stuff like that. People know who I am and people think I'm important, but I'm not. I'm just like all of you. I just happen to put a microphone consistently in front of my face every week. That's the only fucking difference. I love doing this because I get to meet so many awesome people. I get to help make myself better and learn. And then it's awesome that other people say that I help them. So that's the whole point of this. It's not, fame seeking, even though AHR is fun because I get to, like, oh my God, it's Gil. I'm like, yeah, fucking, kiss my hand, bitch. Just kidding.
Kiss the ring.
Like, Gil, I'll suck your dick for a hat. I'm like, fine. Just kidding.
What was his name?
Yeah. He didn't tell me.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Next time shave that mustache.
Yeah. Fucking hurt, man. Fucking rash.
Oh, funny. Buddy.
So you guys have snow in Texas right now, don't you?
No. Not where I'm at. I mean, moving here from Buffalo, this is still like, I'm like, it's a nice spring day,
Yeah, it got to snow in here. It's like, let me see, what is it outside?
Well, they canceled schools and all kinds of crap. And honestly, I mean, I understand like the potential for ice and all that. And they did start throwing sand down on some of the roads. But honestly, I mean, the patches of ice, you could see them clear as day, and they were freaking tiny. I mean, tiny. I could get on a pedal bike. I probably wouldn't have eaten shit. I mean, they made a mountain out of a molehill.
Oh, that's what it is. Adrian said Brett got hit with it. I forget where Brett lives in Texas. I knew there was a part of Texas that got it because it's like 13 degrees here right now. It's fucking.
Brett's up by like Dallas.
Oh,
he's up Dallas. It's cool. I met Brett in person. I went to a training in Arlington, and I called him up, and he drove all the way down there, and we freaking hung out for a little while. And yeah, fucking Brett's a cool ass guy, man.
Brett's good people, man.
He is good. He is good people.
He bust my balls because he came on the one night, and we were supposed to go again, but my son bought tickets to something, so I had to cancel on him. So. Brett always busts my balls. He was like, yeah, I'm not important enough, so Gil cancels on me. I'm like, stop, dude. That's not what happened. I know he's joking, but he's funny. Yeah, Brett's good people. Heat wave hit us 41 degrees. East Coast is what's up, East Coast? I see he just came in.
Yeah, well, we were chilly. We've been chilly. I mean, we just barely cracked 20 degrees the other day. But no precipitation, no ice, none of it. It was the wind was blowing though, and that fucking sucked.
Yeah.
That fucking sucked. 17 degrees and 50 mile an hour winds are hitting you.
Well, if you see my video I put on Instagram today, I went on a roof to help one of our guys because it was his old York unit, and we had a couple of guys. The guy had replaced like fucking, $3,000 worth of parts. And they're like, yeah, it still doesn't work. I'm like, what? I'm like, guys, like, what are we doing? You can't throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. Like, your technicians fucking diagnose it. And I go there and I'm like, okay, well, I don't need the gas valve. I don't need the pressure switch. I'm like, I don't need the limits. I'm like, what'd you guys just order every fucking part that goes on this unit? And it ended up being, it was the blower limit.
But the overload?
Yeah, the little rollout overload that sits
the rollout switch?
The one that's on the blower.
Ooh. Oh yeah. They call that the auxiliary high limit.
Yeah, that one. Fan limit. Yeah, something like that. It was on a big commercial unit. So that's what it ended up being. Once I jumped that out and got it all running, I'm like, okay. Yes, it was manual reset. So I was able to steal one off a unit they don't use to get it running until we get another one. But all the parts that the guys thought they needed, they didn't need. So I get it. It's cold as fuck up there. It's miserable to work in, but that doesn't mean that we can't, we don't do our very best. Like, you're a technician. We diagnose things. We don't guess. I told him, I said, how do you diagnose a gas valve is bad? Okay. You make sure you have gas pressure, and if you have 24 volts going to it and it doesn't open, okay, then your gas valve's bad. I said, did you have 24 volts? They're like, I think. I'm like, you didn't have 24 volts. It was 24 volts. Like, come on, guys. You know better than So, like I said, it was cold. So, like, right now it says it's 13 degrees outside right now. But up on that roof, when the wind was blowing, it was pretty gnarly. Like, I'm not gonna lie, but you gotta do what you gotta do. I mean,
I got a lot of phone calls this week for heating stuff. I was like, wow. I mean, it's just one of those things that makes you think. You're like, whoa, like I guess they're just really not used to it that much here. Because moved here from the Northeast, heating was my wheelhouse. That was 7 months out of the year.
yeah,
Air conditioning was 2, maybe 3 months, and that's it. And we're talking, I mean, to me, it never got hot. There, you get no cooling calls. It was 85 degrees outside. I'm like, that's hot? All right, cool. Doesn't feel hot to me.
yeah. No,
But
around here, if you don't get in the 90s, they're not calling.
yeah, they were calling it 85 degrees. But I mean, here, it's hotter than the blazes of hell in the summertime. I mean, it's
What part of Texas you at
107,
again?
100 Austin.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
The redheaded stepchild.
That's right. Well, isn't Austin like a college town?
UT, who was in the college football playoffs, the
Yeah,
Longhorns,
yeah.
who I know see Young, he's a Sooner fan, so, whatever.
That's funny.
He's a boomer.
Yeah.
I love talking sports, so
Yeah, sports is fun. So obviously my Ravens are still in there. It was awesome the fact that his boys won. The fact that they beat the Steelers means, because if the Steelers would have beat the Buffalo and the Ravens played the Steelers, it would have been Sunday at 6:30, which I'll be in Chicago then. So the fact that Buffalo won means we play the Texans, and now it's like 4:30 Saturday, so I can go to the game before I leave for Chicago. So that's awesome. And then hopefully I'll be going to the fucking AFC Championship game when I get back.
oh, that's for C Young. Huck 'em horns.
That's funny.
Fellow, he's a jarhead. He's a jarhead, so
Hey, we all flock together. It's how that works.
yeah, don't have to have brains, just give me a gun.
Exactly. It'll all come back to me.
Mm-hmm. but they got to be moving targets. No,
That's funny, Brian.
I know that's wrong.
Brian, it said Jen is
Oh,
on
that's
right
cool. Yeah,
now
that's cool.
on the HVA school, so go there after here is finished. Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, she's with Brian Orr. Yeah,
nice.
yeah, good for her.
Yeah, that's
Good for
awesome. So
her.
yeah, definitely go check that out, because we're at an hour, so we're gonna get ready to go off of here in a few minutes. So definitely go check out what Jen and Brian Orr are doing. He said horns down.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, but real fast when it comes to football. So any Browns fans out there, I'm sorry. We love Joe Flacco here. We do. I have nothing but love for Joe Flacco, but there's a reason that he's been a backup and he wasn't on a roster. Joe's always had a cannon. He's always been a gunslinger. We know this in Baltimore. Go back to 2012 when we won the Super Bowl. A lot of those throws were close. They just happened to make it. But when they don't make it, that's what happens. So I didn't see the Texans doing that, even though I took that bet. um, you know, it wasn't surprising. We kind of knew that was coming. Sam said Ravens are the trans Browns. That's funny. Said Big J, tell us how you got started doing industrial. There you go. Now.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Scott, no problem. Honestly, it's because I got, and I mean no offense by this, but I just got sick of the sales bullshit in residential, and that's what it was. Like who you work for, Gil, you're more of a rarity than a normal. Because honestly, my last residential experiences, it was sell, 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 and I've been at this for a long time. March will be put 25 years. You know, and that's just not the way I grew up in this trade. It's not who I am.
Yeah.
And I don't give a shit. It's like you run your business how you run your business. Who am I to say anything about that? I'm an employee, not an employer. So I'm on my mouth and all that, but I just got sick of it because I got called into the manager's office. This is what really did it for me. I got called into the manager's office, and he was talking about why didn't I try to sell something on this for this lady, old lady too. I mean, she was old. She had a 10-year-old system, and it was in just pristine condition. I mean, not a damn thing wrong with it at all. Well, why don't you try to do this? Why don't you try to do that? It's 10 years old. Mind you, this sales manager used to be in concrete, and he'd only been at it for like a year and a half, 2 years. He's like, it's in her best interest. And I'm like, I looked at him, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, look, dude, you've been at this 2 years. And at the time, I was like, I've been at this 20 years. I was like, you're not going to try and sell ice to me because I'm not a fucking Eskimo.
Yeah.
I was like, I ain't fucking doing that shit. And you know what happened after that? Nothing but dog shit. So I left that place, went to another place. And they tried to act like they weren't that way, but when the shit hit the fan, it really was, And that soured me on it. Like I was like, I don't want to do this. This is not who I am. I don't believe in half this crap you want me to push on them because I'm not fucking stupid. I know how it works. I know this is snake oil in a can.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. Yeah, I'm not doing it. And you get looked down upon. Like I ended up taking the place of this guy at this company. They said he was the worst tech on earth, couldn't diagnose his way out of a wet paper bag, but he was the best salesman they had, sales tech.
Oh, I know some of them.
Mm-hmm. And he stuck around for a long time, not knowing his ass from a hole in the ground because he could sell. And the place was a pretty good place. It really was. I liked it, but I just looked at it and I'm like, nah, no mas.
Yeah,
not for me.
I'll be honest with you, Jason. Places like that are what created Beltway, which is why I left where I did, which wasn't necessarily like that. But when I met Ryan from here and me and him were on the same page about what he wanted to create and what I wanted in a company is why I took the risk and came here. Granted, it paid off tenfold, but because we wanted to create a place that could make money that wasn't fucking like that. Like I said,
I know you are. You're one of the good guys.
Well, yeah.
But that's a rarity.
Yeah.
That's a rarity.
And I wanted to prove to myself that you can be a good company without being a piece of shit. I sold millions of dollars in a year, and I never lied to anybody. I never offered anybody anything they didn't need or want. And so I know it can happen. You don't need to be a fucking shitbag. And I know those guys. So I can't say the name of the company, but a big company around here, I rose up to be a supervisor only because I had fucking common sense. But I saw the bullshit that was going on with these guys who couldn't fix anything. They called them senior techs. They were selling techs. And I watched a guy come out, and he was supposed to be the savior, I was technically still in training then, so I was riding with somebody else. And this guy, I wanted to see how they just did things. He called this other guy out, and he said, I'm going to go in here and I'll look at it. And he came out, and he was like, I was like, oh, did you fix it? He was like, no. He was like, I didn't even try, but I sold her a new one. I sold her a new furnace. That, remind you, that furnace was fucking 6 years old. And the only reason it didn't have a warranty is because the shitbag company who put it in never fucking registered it. But he was like, yeah, I sold her a new furnace for $12,000.
What? Just a furnace?
Just a furnace for $12,000. The next morning, I put in my letter of resignation. Well, this is how it went. I went in and told the manager that I knew, the HVAC manager, what had happened, and he looked at me like I was the asshole when I said, and I said, well, I think my time's done here, man. Thanks, but no thanks. I said, I'll leave my truck. I'll get picked up, just make sure I get my last check. And I fucking left.
Yeah, later.
Yeah, because I think that's fucking bullshit, and you don't need to do that. And all the guys that work for us, guys and girls, we don't have any women techs yet. I hope to have some soon. I'd love to have one. But they know the checks and balances and how we have with calling customers after guys leave and stuff like that, or just doing it long enough that if I look on an invoice and something smells like bullshit to me, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to look at it. And if I think that we sold somebody something they don't need, I will refund their fucking money. I'll write up the person. And if you have so many of those, then you lost your privilege to work at Beltway, because that's what it is. We do things different. It's a privilege. Nobody has ever left our company. Well, I take that back. My one friend Levitt left only because we should have never had him in the first place. Guy's extremely smart. He's more industrial stuff. He ran like military bases and stuff like that. And he only came to us because they were forcing people to get a COVID shot. But then he got an offer to run like a Coast Guard yard, and we couldn't match what he was doing. So he's the only person that left of his own free will. Everybody else that comes here, because we're so different and the environment we try to create, the only people who leave are the ones that don't make the cut and get fired or let go. Not because they found something better. And that, I hang my hat on that. That means a lot to me that we've created, not me, me, Ryan, and everybody else that's involved in building the culture there. Still far from perfect, but it makes me feel good that, people don't leave for that. But
yeah, you should be proud of that. That's hard to do.
Yeah, I'm very proud. And I think
When
that, we could have done more revenue in a shorter period of time if we were scumbags, but when we become a $15 million company and we can look back and be like, hey, we got to 15 million and we didn't have to lose our integrity or our morals,
I mean, let's be honest, Gil. You and I both know, because we've seen it. The ones that shoot up like a firecracker also fizzle out like a firecracker. They're not in it. They're not in it for the long haul.
To be honest, most of the ones that fizzle up, and I won't talk shit about them, but I know the game plan. I know how it works. They have no service department. They're a bunch of guys who can sell, and they find a bunch of installers. That's how they build it up. It's selling system. And the guy who does the service will try to go back and do the warranty calls, and they'll just bullshit their way through it because they already got your money.
That's funny that you say that, because I remember it probably been a year, 2 years into being heavy commercial industrial. They hired another guy who was like me, came from residential, and I remember shit was funny. It was I don't know, probably a 17, 18-year-old rooftop unit, and that residential world, that's like, my God, you found fucking dinosaur bones. I mean,
replace it.
He was, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. He went at it like with the building engineer. He's like, and he busted out the whole. It would be in your best interest, and I'm like, oh, so that's what you guys are still doing, that, huh? You're going to sales training classes, and you're all fucking parroting the same bullshit, And I remember the building engineer. He looked at him. He said, the fuck did you just say to me? He's like, oh, it'd be in your best interest. He's like, no, what's going to be in your best interest is you grabbing your shit and get the fuck off this job site. I was right there. I was like, damn. And he came over to me. He's like, who's that guy? I'm like, I don't know. Apparently he's the guy leaving. Yeah. That cat,
the new guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that cat didn't make it too much longer. I think, I don't know, maybe another month or so, at best. it's a whole different world. But I'll tell you, like, I love, and it's no knock on anyone should love what they do. You know, I just
Yeah.
happen my niche and what I love the most that I do in this trade is the heavy commercial, like, and it's not the big dick swinging fucking, you know, oh yeah, I work on something the size of a school bus or bigger. You know, that doesn't mean jack fucking shit. You know, it honestly doesn't. It does the same thing a window shaker does.
Yeah, the
You know, I mean,
refrigeration cycle is the refrigeration cycle. No matter how big or how many compressors, your fans you put in it, it's still refrigeration cycle.
we transfer heat for a living, and that's all we do, inside or outside. That's all we fucking do.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
transfer heat. But I love the challenges of it. I love the opportunities. Honestly, I am one of those idle hands makes for the devil's work. You know, I get into trouble when I get bored. So the challenge is what keeps me going. And I realized today, like, I mean, I don't want to like talk too much just because it's been a shitty week. Let me just say that, you know, but I'm not looking for a pity party, honestly. But I told you about, like, you know, my dog, you know, I mean, I'll
Yeah.
share whatever. You know, I found out yesterday my dog has cancer, you know, I mean, and last week I see a guy jump off a building. You know, I haven't been, you know, very cheerful lately, but I've held it together.
Yeah.
But I like this topic because I feel like, you know, even though I think I'm all right, am I really? You know, am I really? Am I really all right?
Yeah. Trust me, I'm the same way, dude. I have and so I have to be careful what I say just because of prying ears, people close to me. But I've already lost my dad and I have my mom going through cancer. Um, I watched my dad go on hospice and I watched my dad die a little bit every day. So the man who was my hero, was my everything, when he passed away, it fucking crushed me. Um, it stressed my relationship with my siblings because, I felt like I was the one doing all of the grunt work. Because me and my wife had sold our house to take care of my dad, to move in with my parents. So I was the one changing my dad's diapers and shit like that. Did I want to do it? No, but it's my dad. If I had to go back and do it again, I'd do it a fucking million times over. Um,
Hmm.
and now with my mom being sick, it's hard, like when's going to be the day, when you go through holidays, is this my last holiday with her? It's you try to stay positive, but it's hard not to have those kind of thoughts. You know what I mean? So that shit weighs on you, especially being the leader of a household when not that I wouldn't show emotion to my children because I would, but I feel like when it comes to that, if I was to lose it, then they're like, oh shit, it's not okay. So I don't show emotion around them. But there'll be times I'm driving and I'll just fucking lose it. I'll be in the fucking truck driving down the road. Thank God my window's tinted because I'm crying like a fucking baby, you know? And it's one of those ones where you can't control it. It comes and it's not like I want it to, it just comes. Um, so
Yeah, I was bummed. Like it hit me pretty good that when I walked my dog this morning, you know, I was looking at her walking and I was like, man, I mean, yeah, maybe to some people it's just a fucking dog, but you know, that's your opinion and, you know, good for you, but that's my fucking kid. It just happens to have four legs and fur, you know? And it hit me pretty hard, you know, this morning I was walking with her, looking at her going, fuck, man, I'm not going to have many more of these. And how many of these have I already taken for granted that I would love to have back?
yeah, dude, I had a pit bull live to be 19. The
Wow.
yeah, the vet said that I've been going to the same vet the whole time, and he was like, if I didn't have records proving how old she was, I wouldn't believe you. Um,
Hmm.
so my oldest son is 18. So I've had that dog longer than all of my children have been alive. And I knew it was gonna hurt when that dog passed. I didn't know it was gonna hurt like that though, man. I mean, that was bad. uh, especially when I remember getting off of work early and coming home, and it was the earliest that I could get her into a vet to get her put down was like 3:00, and it was 1:30. I'll never forget. It was 1:30. She's laying on my lap with my arms, and she took her last breath in my lap.
Mm.
It's animals are like, I agree, they're like your children, they're like family. Especially dogs. All they want you to do is love them, and they'll love you back endlessly. That's
Yeah.
that's enough to
It,
bring any man to his knees.
well, honestly, what does it to most to me is seeing my wife cry.
Yeah, I
Dude,
bet.
that gets me.
Yeah,
That gets me pretty good.
yeah. Because as a man, as a protector, it's like, oh, my wife's crying. Who said something? Who did it? I'll fucking kill somebody. But when it's something
Oh, and
like,
I will.
yeah, and when it's something like that, there's you have that helpless feeling because there's nothing you can do. You can say it's
Yep.
going to be all right. You can say those things, but you even question them in your own mind. So it's
Yeah.
it's yeah, it sucks. I think that's why, like, I love the dog we have now, but I feel like I don't let myself get close to her like I was before. Like I
Yeah.
would never
Well.
cause her any harm. And I still
Yeah.
play,
Yeah. No.
and I still play ball with her and stuff like that. But I'm not attached to her. Like, my other dog was ever since she was a puppy, she was at my hip. How you always have that one person, like the
Mm-hmm.
dog gets out without a collar or without a leash on or something, and that one person is like, "Get your ass over here," and they'll listen to that one person. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that was me. No matter what was going on, if I said, "Roxy, get your ass over here," she was coming to me. Um, so yeah,
Well, they become your friend. They're your friend.
yeah,
I mean, come on. Any person with a dog, yeah, they talk to their dog. It's like they're your buddy.
yeah,
And
damn
yes,
right.
that is, she's my favorite. She'll be what your dog was to you. This is going to be that one for me. But I got two other ones. So I got
Yeah.
three of them. Little fucking assholes.
Will Speed said, "My shared custody pup almost ran into the street today. I almost had a heart attack." Oh, I bet, man. That'll scare the shit out of anybody. Oh,
Yeah.
see, young Chris. He said, "That's a weird thing that I've never thought would be me, losing my English black labs. Roxy and Herm were the best."
Hemi.
Hemi, yeah,
Yeah.
Hemi. That's what he
Mopar.
said. Yeah, it's funny because if I ever bought myself a new truck, I want the TRX.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool and all, but I'll be honest with you. I see a lot of them here in town, and it's like you look, and I don't want to be like, oh yeah, you're judgmental, but come on, the dudes I see driving those, they ain't
Hey,
about that off-road lifestyle,
yeah. Hey,
which is
it's
what
fun.
that truck was built for.
Hey, if somebody comes up and like, "What are you compensating for?" I'll show them my penis. It's fine. It's fine. No, I drove one.
She's still coming with you though. It's a $90,000 truck.
Yeah, right. Uh, um, yeah. So, and plus for me, like, once we get done with the house, which is slowly coming together, fucking real estate in Maryland sucks dick, dude. That's all I'm gonna say. It sucks balls. Um, but I told my wife that once the house is done, I'll buy her a new car. So we'll probably get like an Escalade or uh, Suburban, one of those. We have to have something like that to carry our gang around. I have my Beltway, my Dodge Ram that I get to drive, so it doesn't make sense for me to get something else. But I would like to have one of those. So I drove one, and it was badass, 700 horsepower in a fucking truck like that. That thing was, it was,
Mm-hmm.
it was pretty sweet. I think that's why I was like, I got half a chub when I was driving that thing. I was like, oh, it's like, man, this is great.
I had a Ram. This is actually the first time I haven't had a truck in I don't know how long. We went down to one vehicle because my truck was a 2019, and I think in the 4 years that I had it, put maybe 10,000 miles on it.
Mm.
It was a glorified lawn ornament, but I'll tell you, yeah, that's part of the manly pride. You know, it sucks not having a truck anymore, but I'll tell you what doesn't suck is having the payment for that fucking truck. Just sit in my front yard and do fuck all every day.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I gotta. One thing good about all the cars I have
Scary.
now are paid off, so that it does suck to get another car payment, but I have to because that
Mm,
Denali my wife drives is a 2014, and she's got it beat to fucking hell. That thing was like top of the line when we got it. It had every bell and whistle you could have in 2014, and I should have got a new one before now, but my
right.
wife's rough on
They're like
cars.
85 fucking grand for those things.
Yeah, I spent close to that on that, and kept making double payments, so I paid it off early.
Dude,
Um,
do you realize? I remember when I was a kid, we got my dad's truck. We went to in 1987. They had I remember Ford F-250s, less than 10 fucking $1,000. Now, granted, you remember bench seats, roll down windows. You're lucky if it was AM, FM radio. I mean, no frills. A truck, just
n-
a truck.
yeah, no power steering.
Yes.
That's why it
No,
had
yeah,
big
fuck all.
forearms. It was.
Uh-huh. Yeah, getting out, four-wheel drive was getting out and locking the hubs. I mean, but $10,000 back then, 10 grand, and now look where it's at.
Yeah,
Hundred
seriously.
fucking $100,000 for a truck. I'm sorry, you can suck me and fuck me for that. That ain't happening.
Well,
I'm
dude,
not
the,
paying that.
the fucking real estate around here, dude, $500,000 buys you a fucking shack.
Mm,
Like all the houses
mm,
I've been looking at, like they're 800,000 to $1 million.
Jesus, yeah, it's
Uh,
ridiculous.
I
You,
mean,
you know
and I don't.
why?
Just because you
You
can
know
doesn't mean you
why?
should.
No, it's a lot. It's honestly, it's these and it may be conspiracy theory bullshit, but like those companies like Zillow and all those, the private equity companies, they buy these people's houses at insanely high prices because they're not worried about that one house. They're trying to get the whole fucking neighborhood, and then they just increase the value of all the houses, and look how much of a killing they make.
Well,
It's That's the reason why all this shit's so fucking expensive now is private equity companies buying it all up.
sadly, you're 100% right. And one of the worst ones is in Texas. Apparently, this company buys 800 properties a month. So they say in the next 15 to 20 years, it's going to be a renter's market because regular Joe Schmoes aren't going to be able to buy a house because they're just going to outbid you, and everything's going to be a renter's market. So thank
Hmm.
God I own properties. And somebody, I guess C Young was talking about me. I thought you like moving around a lot. I hate moving. So me and my wife had a house. We sold that house. We had to get out of it. Moved in to help take care of my dad when he was sick. My dad passed away. My mom said, hey, I can't live in this house without your dad. I need to move on. It sucked. I didn't want to see my childhood house go, but I had to respect my mom's wishes. So she found another house. I ended up moving into one of my rental properties. It's the only property that I had that wasn't with my brother. And we lived there for a couple of years. The house was big. That's the only thing it had going for it was a big ass house, but it was very builder's grade inside. Um, we got a cash offer on that when COVID hit. And the people I had it with, they were in the Navy. I knew them, from military stuff. And plus, I coached their son in football. And they were getting divorced. So I was like, oh, yeah, well, now's a good time. I don't want to be involved in that. So we sold that house. And I wanted to go buy a house back then. But that was in the prime time around here where everybody was given, $100,000 over asking. And I held out till the last minute. And I didn't. I literally. I remember it was a Tuesday, and I had to give the keys to the new owner the following Tuesday. And I looked at my wife and I was like, "Fuck, what the fuck are we gonna do? Like, I don't know where we're gonna go. I don't have enough time to even rent something to go through the whole like credit process." And my neighbor who
Hmm.
lived next to me was like, "Hey, I got this house up on the hill. It's this neighborhood we lives in a big ass hill, but he's like, it's not as big as this, but you're more than welcome to go in that. And that's where we are. So half of my shit is in storage. Like we don't even have half of our stuff because we went from a 4,000 square foot house to like fucking 1,400. So
Yeah, I downsized too. I think houses in Buffalo were cheap. They really were. I mean, you could get a 300, a 3,000 square foot home was, I don't know, maybe 300 grand. And that's just modern times, but the property taxes just chop your dick off. They really do. New York, fuck their taxes.
well, isn't
Fuck
that how
their
Texas
taxes.
is? Texas, I know Texas property is cheap, but they say
Yeah,
property taxes
the
are expensive.
property taxes are killer here, but you don't have income tax here.
Mhm.
So good old New York and California, California property tax isn't really bad, but they stopped that a long time ago in the 70s, but so that's the only thing in California that's not really bad, but yeah, New York the taxes are fucking rape you. I mean, they rape you. They don't even give you reach around. I mean, and the property tax is insanely high. You could just look up people's stuff. You could see like somebody paid $50,000. This big ass house. I remember I went to once. It was a nice house, and it was fucking huge. And the guy's like, "Yeah, it was $2 million." I'm like, "Damn, that's cheap." But I looked at his property tax, and he was paying like $100,000 a year. $100,000 a year.
Property tax in Maryland isn't crazy. It's not good, but it's not as crazy as some others. But real estate market has gotten crazy. And like I said, I think God works in mysterious ways because we got approved. And I said this story, which I still find funny, but it's called Owings Mills, and in this area, this neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
there's a bunch of ravens that live in this, like professional athletes. Like it's really nice houses. The house was $1.2 million for the house, and this house I was getting was huge, but was actually one of the smaller houses in that neighborhood. And I got approved financially to buy the house, but the HOA denied me. Like they do like a background check on you, and I'm like, okay, like the fuck. You know what I mean? But I think that I don't want to spend that
Blessing in
money.
disguise.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad it didn't happen because I mean that would have been like $8,000 mortgage payment. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to do that.
Mm.
It probably would have been more than that. So I ain't no slumlord.
The house
Fuck you, rookie.
the house I live in now is smaller than the apartment I had in Buffalo. So trust me, I understand. I'm like, my garage is storage. I mean, it's weird. I went from, granted, this apartment, they call it an apartment, but it's fucking huge. It had 10-foot ceilings, and I think it was 1,700 square feet.
Mm.
Fucking nice. And it was only, when we got it, I want to say it was a year old or less, maybe even less than a year old. The building. Let's put it this way: the entire building was 3 apartments, right? The one across the way from me, they literally had half the building on the second floor, right? They call it, East Coast is more popular than most places for the mixed use buildings. You'll have the commercial spaces down below, and where people live above it. Yeah, exactly. So the apartment across from me, that was the biggest, and that took half the building. I want to say that place was like 2,400 square feet. Fucking huge, for an apartment. Fucking huge and nice and open and big. And I mean, granted, I'm happy we have this house. It worked out well because Austin's expansive. We lucked out. This is the house we live in. Is my brother-in-law's girlfriend. So they were living here for years and years and years. It's her house, but she works for Google, so she went out to San Francisco just as I got recruited and offered the job to come here. So you want to talk about the man upstairs hooking a brother up, everything, the stars aligned, like just about as perfect as you could ask for. I mean, a house cleared up. I'm not paying what everyone else pays in Austin, but this house is fucking it, dude. It's small, but I got to be grateful. You know what I mean? That's what the last week kind of. It wasn't dude jumping and the whole trauma. I'll tell you, like the biggest lesson I feel like I hope I've taken away from it is, you know, you need to stop bitching about things that aren't really worth bitching about it and start being more appreciative for what the fuck you got.
Amen. Amen.
You know, it was kind of a, you know what, Jason? Yeah, you may have pulled your head out at your ass, but it ain't out all the way. You know, you need to, you know, shut the fuck up and start enjoying what you got. Stop bitching. Stop getting angry at little stupid bullshit that has no significance in life.
Yeah.
Because what did I just wasted energy on nothing? You know, it's like, man, I gotta enjoy today for what the fuck it really is.
Yeah, and I think we've all been there, man. We've all been there, and that is how you have to be. You have to enjoy the things you have in life because too many people worry about what they don't have, and they never take a moment to enjoy what they do. And the social media world, you know, oh, it's keep up with the Joneses on Facebook. When half of those people, it's fucking lies. You know, they're showing you these pretty pictures and all this other stuff, and you don't know that the marriage is falling apart or they're filing bankruptcy. Like, don't believe what you see on fucking social media. You know what I mean? Like, live your life. You know what I mean? So it's
Scott.
thanks. Thanks, Will. Have a good night, buddy. I appreciate you coming, man. Yeah. No,
Love you, Will. You're a good man.
We're gonna close this out. My fucking wife, I'm surprised she's not messaging me. Wondering what the fuck I'm doing.
Sorry, shouldn't have kept you from your family.
No, you're good. You're good, man. But I think this was an awesome conversation. For one, I'm glad you finally came on the show. I know we've talked about it, but I'm glad that we talked about this conversation, man. And like I say, when I do these episodes, if it helps one person, it's worth it, you know? And last year at AHR, after doing one of these mental health and addiction, I got to meet somebody who heard it, and the wife asked to give me a hug, and the dude had tears in his face. And she was like, after listening to what you said, he came to me and said he had a problem. He went to rehab, and he had been clean for like 4 months. And that was just an awesome feeling to know that somebody listened to my podcast talking about that, and it made them go straighten themselves out. So that's awesome.
Well,
Yes,
we could use that in our job too, right? We could use that in our job. I enjoy helping and talking to the younger guys. I get a kick out of it. I like seeing the light bulbs go off, and I like seeing them start to grasp the concept. You know what I mean? That shit's fun, man. I like it.
Yeah.
I like seeing that. I'm like,
people.
fuck yeah. Yes, I do. I enjoy it. And I never thought I would be that kind of person, but I generally enjoy helping somebody in any way I can. And I've also learned that I need help too.
Well, plus it makes you better. I know I've said this a million times, people listen to the show, but Jim Bergman said it. You don't really know something till you have to teach somebody else. And when you're helping other people, it's amazing how much it helps you at the same time. You know, but it's rewarding. I love it. When one of my guys comes to my office and they're like, hey, I went on this job and I got confused. They're like, can I go over it with you? I'm like, yeah, man, fucking like, let's draw it on the whiteboard. Like, you know, I get fucking excited because I want to help them and I want to go over it. Like, I love that shit, dude. I love it.
Well, it's seeing them care and want to take responsibility, and they want to learn, because let's be honest, there's dudes out there who are fingernail pickers. When's lunch? When are we going home?
Yeah. Or they.
And that's cool. If that's, yeah.
They learn.
Yeah. If that's who you are. And if that's who you are, hey, good for you. If that's what you want to do in life, then do it. I'm not going to be the person to judge you, but I respond well, and I do better with people who, I'm trying to be a nice guy nowadays because I am. I could be Captain Motherfucking Asshole real quick, but I don't want to be. I don't want to be. Anyways, I got to shut up now.
No, it's all good, man. Let's these comments, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this out, man. And to be honest, I'll just close it out with Jason on the screen. It's not really a big deal, man. Thank all of you guys for coming here, having all the engagement. I really appreciate you and you guys chiming in on this conversation. If anybody out there needs help, please, don't be afraid to reach out. I am nobody special, but if you reach out to me, I will do my best to help you or point you in the right direction. Just talk to somebody. It's all I ask. It's okay to not be okay, if that makes sense. All right. So yeah, we're getting off now, Adrian.
Can I say one more thing, please, just right quick?
Of course.
I want to give a shout out to Ty Brandeman. Like, I talked to him about, what I saw, and I'll tell you, I've never met him a day in my life, but the way he talks to you, you're his best friend, and he's always will listen to you no matter what. And I wanna, I don't know. Hopefully he catches this, but Ty, if you are, thank you. I appreciate you reaching out. I appreciate what you said. You're what this trade needs. You're one of the people, many people.
Yeah, I've heard so many good things about Ty. I have not been able to meet him in person. I won't lie. We have talked about getting him on the podcast, which we'll set up here sooner or later. But I've heard nothing but good things about him. So definitely seems like an awesome dude and somebody who I really, really respect. Which is Craig Migliaccio, AC Service Tech. I love Craig to death, man. He's just an overall good guy and everything that he does. I mean, the way he lives this life, everything. Craig's a good dude, and I'm glad I'm friends with him. But I know when he's very close with Ty, and I know he has nothing but good things to say, and everybody else that I've talked to. So if you hear this, Ty, can I finally get you on the show, man? You know what I mean? Like, what do I need to do? Who do I need to pay off? Whose cock do I need to? Never mind. Beep. Beep. Oh, it's not. Oh, wrong button. Yeah, man, we're gonna close this out. First and foremost, thank you for so much coming on, Jason. Awesome to have this conversation with you, man. I'm glad you reached out and just to have you on in general, no matter what the topic is. But I think this was a great topic we talked about tonight, though.
Love you, brother.
You too, my man. Of course. Guys, thank you, all of you, for watching the show. I know we went over long, but this was a good time. Obviously, please know that I will not be no live show next week because I will be in Chicago. So stay posted on social media for all. I'll be trying to put out some different things and have content to bring back with me. I will have a audio podcast come out Monday, but just no live podcast. So it'll be the following Wednesday when I come back. With that being said, like I said before, if anybody needs this, please share it with somebody. And just like I said, if it's okay to not be okay, man, just talk to somebody. Just because you're a man doesn't mean you have to be miserable in life and push everything down. So just deal what you got to deal with. All right. Yeah, that's about it. I thought I had something else to say, but I didn't. With that being said, man, make sure you follow me on all social media sites. The more we, get this out to people and share it. Because of all of you is why this podcast has grown. I don't know why so many people listen to my show. I really don't. People ask me that question all the time, and I couldn't tell you, but I'm very grateful. I'm forever grateful for all the people who listen to this. So spread the word. With that being said, guys, remember, be safe out there. All right. We all have somebody to make it home to. Driving, like I said, keep your head on the swivel when you're driving. Make sure the breaker's turned off. All that kind of stuff. All right. We all have somebody to make it home to. Do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy or girl. Part of this is giving a fuck about the people you're around. You know what I mean? Like, ask them if they're okay. If you notice things out of the ordinary. So just put that positivity out and try to help other people. If you're a guy that you know what you're doing, you're really good, you're a master of your craft, then help teach somebody else. They say that every time one of these old heads retires, it's like a library burning down. Don't let your library get set on fire. All right? Pass it down to somebody else, especially if you don't have any kids that do it in the trade. Pass it down to a good young guy or girl that you work with, that you know is a good person, has good moral values, and you're like, hey, I want to put some time and effort into helping this person. Like, give back to it. That's just as important as, anything else. We need that revolving cycle of the older guys, kind of doctrine indoctrinating the younger generation and just keep doing that. That's how we move forward as an industry. With that being said, man, I love you mofos. I appreciate each and every one of you. Stay safe out there, stay healthy, and keep your mind right. All right? Until next time, peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored Podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.
Suck my fucking balls, bitch.
Sorry, didn't mean to say that. Have a good